Welcome back to the Second to None podcast. I'm your host, DJB, and today we are looking at a major international story that could hit people right where they feel it most, at the gas pump, at the grocery store, and inside the everyday cost of living. Right now, the U.S.-Iran crisis is back in the spotlight after reports that the United States seized an Iranian-flagged cargo ship near the Strait of Hormuz. Now, let's slow that down. Before I forget, this episode is sponsored by They Source Sales, a trusted source for natural sea moss and wellness products made for people who want to invest in their health the natural way. If you are looking for products centered around wellness, daily support, and natural living, visit theysourcesales.com. Once again, that is theysourcesales.com. Give them discount code DJB10 to take 10% off your entire purchase. Now, back to our broadcast. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most important oil shipping routes in the world. When something happens in that area, it does not just stay overseas. It can affect oil prices, gas prices, shipping prices, food prices, and the cost of doing business right here at home. Iran is accusing the United States of violating the ceasefire. The United States is standing on its position, and the world is watching to see if this moment turns into another round of military pressure, economic pressure, or possible peace talks. And that is the real question today. Is this the moment where the ceasefire starts to break apart? Or is this pressure being applied before both sides are forced back to the negotiation table? Because when you look at how fast oil markets react, you can see how serious this is. Oil prices have already been moving because investors, countries, and businesses are worried that the situation around the strait could get worse. And when oil prices move, regular people feel it. You feel it when you fill up your car. You feel it when delivery prices go up. You feel it when groceries cost more because transportation costs more. You feel it when small businesses have to raise prices just to keep up. So this is not just a foreign policy story. This is not just a military story. This is an everyday American cost of living story. And that is why people need to pay attention. The Middle East crisis is also putting pressure on global food and fertilizer supplies. That part doesn't always get the biggest headline, but it matters. Fertilizer affects farming. Farming affects food production. Food production affects prices. And when a war or military conflict disrupts shipping, fuel, fertilizer, or trade routes, the impact spreads across the world. Wars do not just move armies. Wars move prices. Wars move markets. Wars move food. Wars move families. And that is why the conversation is bigger than one ship, one country, or one headline. Now, here in America, there's also a major legal story developing with the Supreme Court and birthright citizenship. The court is looking at questions that could affect how citizenship is interpreted in this country. One of the key words being discussed is domicile, meaning where a person is legally considered to live or belong. That may sound like a small legal word, but in a Supreme Court case, one word can change a lot. This is the kind of case that could affect immigration law, constitutional rights, executive power, and the way future administrations handle citizenship. So, while the world is watching the U.S.-Iran situation overseas, we also have major legal and political battles happening right here at home. And locally, in San Antonio, people are dealing with a different kind of pressure: traffic and growth. Loop 1604 construction is continuing to cause major changes, including closures tied to the larger expansion project. San Antonio is growing fast, and that growth comes with more lanes, more construction, more delays, and more frustration for drivers. This is one of those stories where people may not think about politics at first, but city growth, road funding, construction planning, traffic safety, and infrastructure are all connected to public policy. So today's news connects in three major ways. International conflict can raise prices. Supreme Court decisions can reshape rights. And local growth can change the way people live every day. That's the bigger picture. The U.S.-Iran crisis is not just happening over there. The Supreme Court case is not just legal language for lawyers. And San Antonio construction is not just a traffic headache. All of these stories show how government decisions, global events, and public policy reach into real life. They reach into your wallet. They reach into your rights. They reach into your commute. They reach into your business. They reach into your family. And that's why we cover it. Because politics is not just what happens in Washington. Politics is what happens when gas prices change. Politics is what happens when courts define citizenship. Politics is what happens when your city grows faster than the roads can handle. Politics is what happens when people start asking, how does this affect me? And that is the question we should always ask. How does this affect the people? How does this affect the community? How does this affect the families trying to survive, build, work, and stay informed? So, as this U.S.-Iran story continues, keep your eyes on three things. Number one, whether the ceasefire holds or collapses. Number two, whether oil and gas prices keep rising. And number three, whether world leaders move toward negotiation or deeper conflict. Because if this situation gets worse, it won't just be a headline overseas. It could become a real economic problem right here at home. And that is the part people need to understand. A ship seized near the Strait of Hormuz can turn into higher gas prices in Texas. A conflict overseas can turn into higher grocery bills in San Antonio. A political decision made by world leaders can turn into pressure on families who already feel stretched. That's why today's story matters. This is DJB with the Second to None podcast, bringing you the news, the context, and the real-life impact behind the headlines. Remember, stay alert, stay alive, stay second to none. And remember, everything connects when you follow the money, the policy, and the people affected by it.